I would say, the Kyrie thing is it's surprising because it's not necessarily, like the health thing. It's literally just he's like out of rhythm, right? His
Yep.
shot is just off a little bit. And here's my question. We propose this a little bit, but do you think it's going to be harder for him to get back into the rhythm because he's working a lot more off the ball in this offense than I think we saw last season, especially when he would take over games? And the other thing is, it's such a ball movement, kind of offense, and I think he's used to being a little more ball dominant, and I feel like that might be how he kind of gets himself going, and he's not having that opportunity in this offense the same way. I felt like they struggled a little bit with it last year and it wasn't really working. And then he wound up kind of Isaiah Thomasing the offense by the middle of December. And I'm a little concerned it might happen again, but out of necessity. Like, seriously, is this an offense where Kyrie can operate and I mean, look, we saw him split three defenders, right? Like Scal, almost his head almost exploded. But seriously, like, that talent is there and he could take over games, but how ready is he to do it with that outside shot when I mean, do you think maybe he just gets a little rusty in general?
I think a lot of his game is off feel. I think it's a lot of feeling the game. Not to get, yeah, my kids love the movie Uncle Drew. I mean, they watch it all the time. We were riding back from a travel basketball game this weekend, and it's on the back. And there's a lot of that game. A lot of that is like it's written as if I could hear him saying those words in interviews and whatnot. It's so much about the feel and the flow of the game for him. I mean, you look at how many of those little shots, those little, he's at the cup and he's just, rolling it this way and flipping it that way and the in-between shots. Like, he's missing the threes, and that particularly opening night, that really stood out as like, whoa, where's the he wasn't getting to the rim. He's been getting to the rim, but even those in-between shots where he had that great feel, it's just off. Like you said, the timing, and I think that is the thing for him, is that the more he plays, that should come back. I think it's just getting
But do you think he needs to dominate in the offense to do it?
I don't think he does. I think he's taken himself out. Personally, I think it was a good point. He's withdrawn in terms of his usage. I mean, he's not even. Let's see. He's second in the team in usage rate, but he's like not that much further ahead. Guys like Aaron Baines, Gordon Hayward, Marcus Morris. So I mean, it's not like
he's second, but nobody's really lead dogging it like crazy.
Right.
Where is he at defensively? Here's I don't know if you can pull up. Go ahead.
His defensive win share. I mean, it's so early in the season for the defensive win share.
I know, but I'm just sort of curious as far as a snapshot of those 3 games, because I do feel like he's trying to put in, a little more energy on that end of the court as well. And we've seen him get some deflections. We've seen him get his hand on the ball a couple of times, and I mean, obviously we've seen Tatum do that. I think he's had a couple of strips where he's gone, to the other end, and that's great to see. But, Kyrie was kind of notoriously a poor defender, right, when we got him. And then last year we said, well, we think he's going to be a better defender because he's not going to have to shoulder the entire offense. And like I said, by December, he's ball pounding as the ball handler. And, basically it's the Kyrie show for the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. And I feel like we're trying to do the same thing at the start of this year. Now, that may have been somewhat of a necessity last year because of all the injuries. And I don't even think they really fully knew what they had in Tatum even by then, right? As far as like clutch shooting, I think they might be able to sustain it this year where, due to injuries, maybe they didn't feel like they could and they put the ball back in his hands. But, this team is not notorious. Statistically, this team was a great defensive team last year, and I wonder if there may be improvements to his game, and that's another reason why they don't want him to be quite so ball dominant, because it gasses a guy.
Right. Well, his net rating is -10, which would be the worst in his career so far. He's got it actually, in terms of his defensive net rating, would also be the worst, but not like He had a 109.7 in 2 years ago. It was last year in Cleveland. He's at 110 right now. He's really hurting himself right now is on the offensive side. His offensive rating's 100, which would be almost 10 points worse than last year, 16 points worse than 2 years ago in Cleveland. So it's really
essentially the difference between the two is we're losing 10 points a game when he's on the floor.
Yeah, and offensive, and you can really point almost directly to those shooting numbers. If he's hitting, I'm just looking at the raw numbers here. If he's hitting at a rate of right now he's shooting 4 threes a game and making 0.7 of them. If he hits 2 of those, I mean the percentages start flipping around really quickly. So
yeah.
It's so early, and the percentages, it's like small sample size. Like, don't get too freaked out about that. But clearly, through 3 games, Kyrie Irving is not the Kyrie Irving we were used to a year ago. And
that's all I was really trying to say. Not that he won't be. And again, yeah, absolutely, small sample size, and all of that, and shaking the rust off, and coming back from injury. We can do that, over and over. I want you to do this. We're going to talk about a couple of our sponsors real quick, but when we come back, I'd like to transition that to Hayward and kind of take a similar snapshot and see how he's rebounded. I get it. It's only 2 games. You know what I mean? But what do his numbers look like? Again, I know it's small. It doesn't mean anything yet. But just reflection of the time played would be good to see, through these first couple of games, shaking the rust off. So, hey, Boston sports fans, do you want to get killer seats to see your favorite team just for the price of a beer or a large pizza? I bet you're tired of paying all of the inflated markups from brokers or last-minute convenience charges, so you end up paying courtside prices for those nosebleed seats. Give me a break. Go to 1in100.co. That's 1in100.co. Feeling lucky? Try it out now. There's no other place online that's doing online raffles to win tickets to events. It's a totally new way to score tickets to your favorite events and a new way to score Boston Celtics tickets. The cost to potentially score tickets with 1in100 is a small fraction of the actual ticket price. Score a pair of tickets for less than the cost of a beer. Your first raffle ticket is free after you sign up. The experience of using 1in100 is extremely fun and exciting, from picking your lucky number to the feeling of potentially scoring premium tickets. Feeling lucky? Try it. 1in100.co. That's 1in100.co.